What's going on, everybody? Back at it with another New York Giants video. And in this video, we're going to discuss the New York Giants OTAs, talk about some of the voluntary OTAs and updates on the team. We'll dive into first-round pick Kadarius Toney a little bit, talk about some quotes made by Blake Martinez and a bunch more. But before I get there, I want to thank everybody for supporting this YouTube channel. Make sure to go follow us on YouTube at our channel at Big Blue Avenue, along with Instagram and Twitter. We're pretty active on there, bringing you guys up-to-date daily content. Really do appreciate all the support that we've gotten lately. And this is going to be a fun episode tonight, as I'm going to discuss kind of what happened this week. I actually took a little trip to MetLife in the middle of the week, non-Giants related, but it was an interesting week for the New York Football Giants as OTAs began on Monday and Tuesday, voluntary OTAs. And yesterday, Thursday, was the first day that the media had access, and a lot of reporters were there, taking notes and whatnot. And, the way the calendar goes, there's going to be more OTAs next week, June 2nd to June 4th. Then the mandatory mini camp will be from June 8th to June 10th. And then the OTA offseason workouts will be happening towards the middle of June. So those are more workouts planning ahead, all leading up to training camp, which I believe starts around the end of July, I think, July 29th, I want to say. But so as of this week, there were 75 guys in attendance for the New York Football Giants, roughly, and that was a good sign. One of the names, though, that was not there was first-round rookie wide receiver Kadarius Toney. He has not attended voluntary OTAs yet, and this is partially, in fact, due to the fact that he has not signed his rookie contract yet, and this is normal. The first-round pick, usually there's a lot of credentials that need to be worked out before a deal is stamped together. I mean, third-round pick Aaron Robinson and fourth-round pick Ellerson Smith just signed their rookie contracts this week. Kadarius Toney's will likely be coming within the next couple of days. And, of course, the media tried to shine this in a light where, people are starting to get worried about Kadarius Toney. We're like, well, why hasn't he signed yet? Why isn't he here? Everybody's freaking out, and they want to make storylines out of that. But in reality of the situation, these are voluntary workouts, team workouts, and if he doesn't show up next week, then you can get concerned a little bit. But right now, don't get concerned, because this guy, it's just a bad narrative to worry about. He was there for rookie minicamp. He had the shoe issue, and, you don't want to get him hurt or anything, and there's a lot of things behind closed doors that we don't know about with Kadarius Toney. So I do think this is an overreaction that he has not attended yet. So I wouldn't worry about it personally. I kind of like where the Giants are at with the amount of guys that are attending these workouts. I know Kadarius Toney has already been forming bonds with his new teammates, especially quarterback Daniel Jones, reaching out to veteran receivers on the roster like Sterling Shepard. Kadarius Toney's going to be fine. There's no need to harp on this issue, but I just wanted to touch upon that because some people brought it to my attention today, actually, which is why part of the reason why I'm doing a video on this tonight, to tell people that, look, this guy's going to be very dynamic for us in the slot this year. He's not going to hold out or anything. Rookie contracts take time. They don't just happen overnight. So expect one to be done within the next week. Now, moving on, Giants middle linebacker and captain from last year, Blake Martinez, said that new rookie teammate Azeez Ojulari looks like a freak out there. Reminds me a lot of Osi Umenyiora. I know I've done a couple of videos on Azeez so far. Blake also said that Danny Shelton, who the Giants brought in as a nose tackle from the Detroit Lions, is huge and draws in a lot of double teams. So, well, yeah, that's what you want as a nose tackle. You want to draw a lot of double teams, which frees up the guy behind you to make tackles, and that's exactly what happened last year with Blake Martinez playing behind Dalvin Tomlinson. He was very effective. He had over 150 tackles on the season. So Blake Martinez has been an outstanding addition to this football team, entering his second year with the Giants. I think Danny Shelton is a veteran who's going to fit in quite nicely. Him and Austin Johnson, they'll be somewhat of a rotation in that nose tackle role. Two excellent run stoppers. And I think Austin could probably be that guy that comes in more on passing down situations, as Shelton is not very athletic at all. He's very slow-footed. He's only good in the run game, but he has a job to do, and that's his one job, and that's exactly what he's going to do. Austin Johnson is slightly quicker than him. But moving on from that, Blake Martinez is such a funny guy. I like talking about him. I know we don't touch upon him that much on the channel, but wanted to shout him out right there. A couple of things that were noted, and the two most notable things, we'll start with this. Will Hernandez potentially moving to right guard for 2021. This was rumored. I know license plate guy Joe Ruback brought this up back in January after the season was over, talking about the offensive line. The topic was brought up again by a couple other content creators, another few fans around draft time. I think I'm not so surprised that Will Hernandez is playing right guard because if you remember last year, so Will Hernandez got COVID, unfortunately, and he missed a couple of games. Then we had the bye around that time as well, I believe. And then when he came back, the Giants stuck with fifth-round pick rookie Shane Lemieux at left guard, which kind of left Will Hernandez as the odd man out because Kevin Zeitler was our best O-lineman, so he was anchoring down the right guard position. Shane Lemieux ended up starting 9 games as a rookie. That's a lot for a fifth-round offensive lineman. Will Hernandez, former second-round pick 3 years ago. So, yes, it does raise some questions where Shane Lemieux and Will Hernandez are going to play. And one thing last year that you noticed from the film is that we realized that Shane Lemieux is a good run blocker. He's an adequate to good run blocker. He is a not very good pass blocker, to say the least. Andrew Thomas played next to Shane Lemieux towards the end of the season. Those rookies formed a close knit. And one thing I noticed from film in a lot of those late season games, they moved guys very well on double teams, which freed up some lanes for Wayne Gallman, for Alfred Morris, even for Daniel Jones. So I think all in all, you may not want to mess that up and give Shane Lemieux some first-team left guard reps. Now, this doesn't mean this is how the O-line is going to look come preseason or week 1, start of the regular season. But as of right now, if I had to guess, Shane Lemieux is probably going to be starting at left guard in 2021, barring any injuries or, free agency additions that happen. There's still a chance the Giants might bring in one guard free agent, but they might be waiting for the market to drop a little bit. We'll see what happens. I don't think they're going to sign one. If they do, I don't think it's going to be a very highly noted guy. And what I mean by that, even if it's a veteran, it's not going to be a guy who's had a lot of starting experience. In other words, I don't think we're getting Trey Turner. Obviously, Villanueva has been signed. I mean, Giants have been linked to a couple of guys. I don't think we're going after any free agent guards, but we'll see what happens. Shane Lemieux, as I said, started 9 games at left guard in 2020. Will Hernandez could start at right guard. Last year, he only played 52% of the offensive snaps. Started just 7 games. All of those starts were at the left guard position. Will Hernandez, he's what you would call an average guard, right? He had a standout rookie year. He played next to Nate Solder. He was good. He learned a lot from him. And then, that position changed this past year. His second year, he was next to Solder as well, but his play regressed a little bit in a sophomore campaign. And then this year was kind of like his COVID year, I guess you would say, where he caught COVID and it lingered in his play a little bit. Maybe, he just wasn't ready. Now, by no means is this me saying that Shane Lemieux is better than Will Hernandez, because that's purely not the case, at least right now. I think Will Hernandez is the better guard out of the two. This could also be a scenario as in not just who we feel most comfortable starting as our left guard, who do we feel comfortable moving? Who's been on the team for a few years now that we feel has the best ability to move? And I think Will Hernandez has the best ability to move because I think the Giants trust him more moving over to that right side. If you think about this as well, you put a veteran next to Matt Pert to help him out because Hernandez is the most experienced starting offensive lineman, pending Nate Solder. I don't think he's going to start. I think he's going to be the swing tackle, but you have Andrew Thomas, Shane Lemieux, Matt Pert, who were all rookies last year. Nick Gates was a first-year full-time starter last year, meaning that he started all 16 games. The previous year, he came in towards the end where there were injuries, and most of those starts were at right tackle. Nick Gates can play any position on this offensive line, in particular center to right tackle. I think he'd be fine at any of those three. He can shift out left as well, but Gates is our center. You move Will Hernandez to right guard. Now you put a veteran next to Matt Peart, where that's where Kevin Zeitler was last year. I think Matt Peart needs to continue to grow. He needs more of a developmental process than Andrew Thomas does, as where I think Andrew Thomas was immediately ready to come in and start despite his poor play at the beginning of the season. A lot of that was due to injury and the defenses the Giants were going up against. You had teams like the Pittsburgh Steelers out there, the San Francisco 49ers, the Chicago Bears as well, with guys like Khalil Mack and Robert Quinn, good edge rushers. So not good, great edge rushers. So I think this offensive line, if Will Hernandez is the starting right guard for week 1 of the 2021 NFL season, I wouldn't be too mad about it. In fact, I'd be satisfied about it because there's no doubt he's one of our top 5 O-linemen on this roster. You need to have him somewhere with this starting year, especially since he's entering a contract year. Now, the last topic I'm going to talk about in this video is Carter Coughlin has been practicing with the inside linebackers. Now, that's very interesting because Carter Coughlin is only 23 years old, and he's a very versatile player. He was one of 4 linebackers drafted in 2020. He was the second most effective on defense behind Mr. Irrelevant Tay Crowder. And you saw him play a lot of spy, in particular that Seattle game where he played, well, he lined up often in the A-gap where he spied on the Seahawks game. He spied on Russell Wilson. He did a good job. He had 2 QB hits in his rookie year. Both came when he was lined up in the A-gap. I think now that the edge rusher room is more crowded, you go to Carter Coughlin and say, hey, you know, last year you played a lot of games for us. You started a couple too. The inside linebacker room is a lot more thin than the edge rusher position right now. And Carter Coughlin has the ability to transition to that position because of his size, right? Everybody's saying, well, Carter Coughlin's going to get squashed on the depth chart this year because the Giants brought in Afadio Dinibo. They drafted Azeez Ojulari and Ellerson Smith. Carter Coughlin is a little bit undersized for an edge rusher. 6'3", 236. That's not an edge rusher size. He has the height, but he does not have the weight. He does not have the body build to match up against some of these beasts. I think the Giants are looking to get bigger at the edge rusher position. Carter Coughlin has more of the body build of your traditional inside linebacker. I mean, we know Blake Martinez is the Giants' #1 inside linebacker. That's not even worth questioning. But who's number 2? See, last year, Tay Crowder got some time because Devontae Downs did not pan out, and David Mayo had his torn meniscus that he really, in my opinion, never fully recovered from because it affected his play when he came back. Crowder was outperforming him. So Coughlin is competing with Tay Crowder, Reggie Ragland, Devontae Downs. In fact, the inside linebacker room is so thin, I went and made a video on it a week or 2 ago promoting Cale Garrett, trying to promote him to make this 53-man roster. But in 2020, Carter Coughlin had 17 tackles, 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss. He played only 18% of the defensive snaps, but I think that was far more than what he would have expected entering his rookie year, being a 7th-round draft pick. He was one of our top edge rushers in the final 5 games of the season. Now, pitching this to you percentage-wise, Coughlin rushed the passer on 71% of passing downs last year, but he dropped back into coverage 29% of the time. That's quite a lot for an edge rusher. So it kind of makes sense. Now, how much do we want to analyze this and dive into it? Not so much yet because this is voluntary OTAs. Yes, he was practicing with the inside linebacker group, but Joe Judge said this in his introductory press conference last year. Guys are going to be asked to play multiple positions. This isn't going to be a thing where Carter Coughlin is going to only be an inside linebacker. Carter Coughlin's going to play both. He's going to play the edge rusher position. He's going to play the inside linebacker position. That's just how it is. He can play the 5 tech. He can play the A-gap. That's exactly what you want out of a versatile player. And I think it improves Carter Coughlin's chances to see the field more if he's working with the inside linebacker group. I know Cam Brown also played a lot of inside linebacker in college out of Penn State, so he could potentially be an option there as well because the edge rusher room is a lot more crowded. You got Azeez Ojulari and Ellerson Smith. You have Lorenzo Carter, an X-Man, coming off injury, so that's 4 right there. You got Odenibo, who can play the 3 tech or the 5 tech. He can play the 4i as well. And then you have Ryan Anderson, and you have a couple other names in there as well. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Carter Coughlin heading into 2021. Guys, I hope you all like this video. Hope you all have an awesome Memorial Day weekend. We're going to have a lot more videos coming up. And also, Brandon Jacobs making a return to the NFL. That's pretty interesting. Yeah, that's going to be a fun topic to analyze. But until our next video, I want to thank you all for watching again one more time. Make sure, please hit that subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications. I will talk to you all later. Thank you all very much.